Hello, can you guys hear me? All right. So, hi guys. We'll just wait maybe another couple of minutes, like maybe about 3 to 4 minutes. So, in the meantime, maybe let's get a little bit of chat going. So maybe you guys can talk in the chat. If you're a student in NUS or even some other university, maybe like what are your faculties, what are your majors, what are your years. Let's see, what is the distribution of audience we have here. So maybe I can introduce myself in the meantime as well. So I'm Joel. I'm the current president of Stat Society. So yeah, I'm from data science. So cool, I see, I see. So yeah, there's going to be a little bit of lag in the chat, so maybe I won't be able to respond like immediately. But I do see like some people from computing. So BZ, that's good. Yeah. Nice, we have someone from electrical engine as well. It's great. So great to see this diversity of people here. Oh, econs as well. Great. Do we have anyone from maybe psychology? Nice, nice to see. All right, we'll just start maybe in 2 minutes. Yeah, so we wait for 6:35. So any of you here are friends of Agatha or Michael? So our presenters for today. So Agatha, Russell says hi to you. But I'm sure she's reading the chat right now, so you can say hi directly to her. See some people from apparently PogChamp University. I don't think such a university exists, but if it did, you know, KW. All right, nice, nice to see some support for Agatha. And do we have any support for Michael? Poor Michael. All right, so I guess it's time to start. So first things first, let me introduce myself again. So I'm Joel Tan. So I'm the current president of the NUS Statistics Society, which are organizing this SQL workshop that you're currently attending. Yeah. So I, along with all our members here today, would like to welcome you to this SQL Workshop 101. First things first, let's talk a little bit about like NUS Statistics Society and what we do. So the NUS Statistics Society, we are a student-led organization at the National University of Singapore. Officially, we are under the Department of Stats and Probability, which is the DSAP you see on the screen. But our members, we actually allow anyone to join, any faculties, anyone can join. So in particular, we actually have members from various faculties and departments. So we have people from the psychology, we have people from SOC, School of Computing, so we have people from ComBio, things like that. So yeah, it's quite a diverse mix of people. And I'll say like our primary objective as a society is to really develop and foster a community of individuals who are just passionate about statistics and all things that are related to statistics that you can see on the screen. So these are just an example of stuff that is related to statistics. Actually, the statistics is something that's used like a lot, right? So it's not just this, there's even more of this. And yeah, as a society, we organize many different kinds of events and workshops for the external audience, you guys, right? So some of our events that we've organized in the past include sort of this fun challenge, so like financial challenges, things like that, as well as more like larger scale data science competitions or datathons. And also, we organize career events for our students. So just for example, last year we actually brought in a data analyst from Google, as well as this year we brought in a senior algorithms engineer from Ant Financial, or maybe you guys better know it as Alipay previously. And yeah, so we bring them over to sort of share their experiences and gives a little bit of tips and insights, how can we progress our career, maybe even little things about interviews, things like that as well. And I'll actually like to make a quick shout out to our partners, Desktop, who have actually co-organized these events with us. And we really, really like to thank them for giving us this opportunity to sort of bring all these established speakers from these really good companies over. And I think one last thing, right? So I would like to thank you guys, the audience. So I know some of you have been supporting us for a while now, and maybe some of you here are actually new. Maybe this is your first time having an event with the Stats Society. And it's fine, regardless of whatever. I think it's really it's true. All of the audience, you guys, all your support is what keeps us going, what lets us be able to keep making sort of these good workshops and events for all of you guys. So yeah, together with your support, we hope that we'll be able to take this society and its mission to really just spread the amazingness and awesomeness of statistics and data science to just a much larger scale, to a much larger audience. So yeah, thanks everyone. And now I'll pass my time to this incredible workshop director, Jet New, to talk a little bit more about what the workshop team is about, and as well as some of the upcoming workshops that you guys can look forward to. So yeah.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, hi everyone. Thanks so much for coming to SQL for Data Science 101. Can you guys hear me? Okay, hi everyone. Thanks so much for coming. Okay, so I am Jet New, the Director of Workshops at NUS Statistics Society. So in one line, we conduct workshops about statistics, data science, and machine learning. If you want to get the most up-to-date information about our upcoming workshops, do check out our website here. So with that, let me introduce you to the workshops team at NUS Statistics Society. So the workshops team hosts a whole suite of workshops for the NUS population, from topics ranging from statistics and data science to machine learning. So due to the nature of online workshops, we recently opened our workshops to members of the public as well, including our friends from the Data Science Singapore group. Shout out to them. Last year, we organized a Python for machine learning workshop. As you can see in the photos here, there were quite a lot of participants that attended our events. We also planned for PyTorch and SQL workshops last year, but due to the sudden COVID situation, it wasn't executed in the end. That's why we are so happy to be able to organize the SQL for Data Science 101 workshop today online to you guys. Now, let me introduce to you the workshops team. The workshops team comes from diverse backgrounds, from statistics, data science, mathematics, to computer science, computational biology, and even quantitative finance. Today, Michael Yang and Agatha would be your presenters for today. Now, let me introduce to you our upcoming workshops for this semester. In semester 1, we have a total of 4 workshops across 3 major themes. We have the SQL for Data Science 101, which is today, and 102, which is tomorrow. We also have Applied Machine Learning for Face Mask Detection and Dimensionality Reduction and Theory. So since all of you are already here for SQL for Data Science, let me introduce just the other 2 workshops. For Applied Machine Learning for Face Mask Detection workshop, we employ a project-based approach to learning applied skills. So from image augmentation to transfer learning with TensorFlow, you will learn to apply machine learning from model training to integration from the comfort of your laptop's camera. So this workshop will be brought to you by Georgie and Rama. Our Dimensionality Reduction and Theory workshop covers more theoretical concepts. So this workshop will cover principal component analysis in depth, from basic statistics and linear algebra to PCA applications and data visualization that will follow from it. So this workshop is brought to you by Ming Liang, Yizhe, and Peng. So all these details will be updated as they are confirmed on our website, which contains content from all our past workshops. And we will also publicize our workshops in our publicity channels. So you can access our workshop website over here. So do look forward to our workshops, and I hope you are as excited as us to share with you what we have prepared. Finally, let's get started with SQL for data science. It's actually SQL for data scientists. We found that for many of us, SQL is an important skill to acquire for your internships and jobs, frequently needing to perform queries, for example. Therefore, for this workshop, we only cover the usage of pgadmin and basic queries to get you familiar with some hands-on experience, facilitated by supporters from the workshop's team in the YouTube chat, who will address any questions and problems that you might encounter. With that, let me introduce to you our presenters for today. We have Agatha on the left and Michael Young on the right, who will be presenting today's workshop. Michael Ng will be presenting tomorrow's workshop, SQL for Data Science 102. Agatha on the left is a year 2 statistics major. Statistics major. And she is a piano and violin enthusiast. Her interest is in fintech or financial technology. Michael Young on the right is a year 2 data science major, and he loves to drink coffee and play the guitar. His interests are in threat intelligence and geographical information systems, or GIS. Michael Ng, presenting tomorrow, is a year 3 data science major, and his hobby is in running. His interests reside in self-development. So if you are passionate in fields similar to them, do reach out to them on their social channels. I'm sure they'll be happy to chat with you about common hobbies and interests. So with that, before I pass the time to Agatha and Michael Young, I'm sure that they are very nervous right now because there are quite a lot of viewers on live stream. So I hope that you'll give them your best support. We are here to try to make your learning experience a very fruitful one and make this workshop as useful as possible for you. So because of the nature of this workshop being held online, we are not able to personally debug your issues, but do let us know of your questions on the YouTube chat, and we will find ways to help you resolve any problems that you might encounter or questions that you may have. So with that, let me now pass the time to Agatha and Michael Young, who will take you through today's workshop.
Okay. Hi guys. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So I'll start today's workshop. So hi everyone, I'm Agatha, and so like the title today, we'll be learning about SQL and how to apply it. So I'll be guiding you on the introduction, schema, constraint, and the first half of basic querying, which is select from. And my friend Michael will be guiding you through the second part of select from and filtering data with where statements and tricks on filtering data. So yeah, first, so what is SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language. It is a commonly used language in relational database systems. So there are many types of SQL systems out there. For example, MySQL, SQLite, and what we'll be using today is PostgreSQL. So each of them, they have their own unique features and quality of life improvements, but they all share similar principles and syntaxes. So the sentence commonly used language in relational database systems might sound a bit confusing. So let's take a look. Why is it commonly used? And what is relational database systems? So why SQL? First thing, SQL offers something that many programming languages do not, which is a simple, intuitive way to retrieve information from a tabular database. SQL servers are also known as relational database, and that is why SQL systems are also called as relational database management systems, or RDBMS. So as data scientists, we are usually required to retrieve information that is relevant and meet specific requirements. And one of the best and most efficient methods to retrieve such information is to write SQL queries. So we imagine if you have a million of users in a database, using Excel will be impossible. Your laptop will lag, and that is why we use SQL. So moving on to relation data. Relation data are correlated to each other by being on the same row in the table. So oftentimes, data that are related to each other may be connected by a shared value in a specific column in each table, and we use joins to connect them. We're going to cover joins at tomorrow's workshop. Okay. So the goal of SQL is to select relevant columns from a table where rows meet certain conditions, and this gives rise to the basic format of an SQL query. Since relational database can get messy sometimes, we need this thing called schema to describe the data. So relational data is highly structured, and each column only accepts a specific type of data. A schema provides a view of what type of data is in the columns. This is called relation schema. And what tables are in the database. This is called relational schema. So let's take a look into relation schema first. Relation schema is the design for a relation. It's the boxes you see here. So for a relation R, relation schema defines constraints. For example, the data type for each column in R. It does not describe the actual data in the relation R since it only acts as a design and does not describe any relationship between R and other relations in the database. So yeah. Second is the relational schema. Relational schema is the design for the entire relational database. It consists of a set of relation schemas, which is these boxes or tables here, along with constraints or relationships between these relations. So to summarize, relation schema is the design of a table, these small boxes right here, and a relational schema is the whole thing, and it describes the relationship between these tables. So yeah, let me give you an example. Meet Samuel. He's not usually this grumpy, you know. Yeah, so Samuel here is still 16 years old. And as we all know, there are certain places in Singapore that doesn't allow people under a certain age to enter. For example, bars. You need to be 18 to enter, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So Samuel here wanted to enter a bar. A bit of context, this place uses relational database to collect customers' data. So he filled out a form before entering, and when it comes to question of age, he filled it in with old enough because he do not want to disclose his age since he is still under 18. Yeah, but this column only accepts integers, so based on the constraints of the table schema, the entry old enough won't be accepted. So now Samuel is grumpy. SQL schema only accepts a specific type of data due to how our DBMS works. Schema will dictate what data can be stored within a column and will enforce this rule strictly, and they will not accept other data. So yeah, I heard a feedback that my Wi-Fi was quite laggy. I'm quite sorry about that. You know, if there are like some things you want me to fix, can just comment down below and my friends will tell me. So yeah, this is a brief introduction of what SQL is. Yeah, and let's get to the fun part where we get to do things hands-on. So the database that we're going to use today is called pizzeria.sql, and we have the table restaurants, pizzas, sales, ratings, and ratings_centrals. So let's start with querying, and we'll start basic with select from. Yeah, so a bit of context, querying is the process to get the data that we need in the format that we want it to be. As data scientists, this is very important because without the correct data, we won't be able to do other things like analysis and forecasting. For example, when we want to do a data science project to predict the favorite pizza flavor for each age group, before we do anything fancy, of course, we first need to get the historical data of pizza, sales, and the customer profiles, and that's when querying comes in. So before we start querying, we have to set up your pgadmin and open the files. Okay. So can you guys go to pgadmin in your laptop? Okay. So yeah, when you open pgadmin, you're going to see this. This is the password you set upon installation. So you just enter your password in here. So you're going to see servers here. So you click servers. Okay. Then you right click on databases. You create database. Okay. So you just name it any name, it's okay. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to call it pizzeria and save. So here, you're going to see it somewhere here, like under the database. Okay, so you right click, so you click pizzeria, you right click on pizzeria again, and you choose restore. When you choose restore, here, file name, you see there's 3 dots right here, you press, and you change the format here to all files. And you go to the place where you stored your pizzeria.tar. It's the file that is given to you before that you've downloaded that includes all the tables and the database. So you click and you select and you restore. So to start querying, you right click on schemas and you choose query tool. I'll give you some time, like a minute, to do the query. To restore, sorry. If you have any question, can just comment down on the comments and my friends will help you answer. Okay, I can actually repeat the steps again if you want me to repeat. Okay, I'll repeat. So when you open, you're going to see enter password. So you enter your password first. So after entering your password, you're going to see this. Yeah. And you go click on servers right here. And you right click on database. Then you create database. And just name it any name you want it to be. So I'm going to call it Agata. There we go. So. Save. After saving, you can go to database. Then you find the database that you just created just now. So it's Agata, right? Then you right click again on Agata. You restore. Okay, you restore. Then over here, you go to file name, and on the right side, you see these 3 dots here. These 3 dots right here. You click it, and after clicking it, this is what you see. And over here on the bottom right, there's format. You have to change the format into all files. Okay, then you go to the place where you store your pizzeria data. I store it like in here. Okay, so you just choose it, then you select, and you restore. So it's restart. Okay, I'll give you guys another 30 seconds.
Hi, I'm sorry for the hi guys, I'm sorry for the thing. Can y'all hear me right now? Alright, we're good. Okay, so alright, let me just walk through everyone again how this works. Can everyone see the screen right now on the PGM on my left side, right? So y'all should be able to see servers. The no matter what number of servers y'all have, yes, so it's there. You just click down, there should be Postgres 12 or Postgres 13. Depending on what you downloaded, it could be either one. Does anyone not have this too? Alright, sorry, okay, so afterwards, all you have to do is click down to Postgres, and then you'll see databases. Some of y'all might not have, uh, oh, sorry, okay, let me change the resolution. Apparently someone, oh, is it on the YouTube end or is it on my end? Okay, I'll try to see whether I can resolve this. Hold on a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so, okay. Alright. Uh, alright, is everyone good with the resolution side? Alright, cool. Alright, so yeah, as usual. So if everyone can see this, follow this step until the databases. Okay, so some of y'all might not have databases, some of y'all might have, but I'm going to demo anyways. So y'all should be able to see the database tab here. All you're going to do is right click and choose create a database. Can everyone follow this part? Alright, so the database, the name here is essentially any name that you want to set. For instance, you can set database as, let's call it my, alright, my SQL course database, right? Okay, so uh, anything else y'all don't have to touch. So y'all just leave it as your name right now and you'll save. So what this will do is this will create a new database, and by clicking this arrow you should be able to see multiple ones. Usually when you first create a database, they will show this icon where it's like empty almost like with a cross. Don't worry, just click with it, you'll activate it and everything will come down, right? So what y'all need to do next is schemas. Under schemas, they'll have a bunch of things that come down again. So scroll down from public, under public there should be tables. And in tables, y'all can y'all by right now by right y'all shouldn't be able to see anything. So what y'all need to do is go back to the server that y'all created, right click the server and click restore. And by right they should come up with a tar file and all that. So all you're gonna do is to click on the directory uh, to go through your file name to search for the tar file. Some of y'all might have stored it in somewhere else, but go to all files and that should pop up. Yeah, hopefully everyone's good. And once you select that, that should be able to, and once this is selected, you click restore and they will actually complete the job for you once everything is good and you see successfully completed, and that's all. What is the step before restore? Okay, the step before restore, you click, okay, so you need to create your own database. Does everyone have a database already? Just to check. If everyone don't have a database, you need to go to this databases, right click and create a database. But if you already have a database, you just gotta go to the database, select, right click the database itself, and go down and restore is here. Can everyone see? Okay, gonna give a few more minutes for the folks there to resolve whatever issues you have. Alright, so hopefully you're able to make it, and that's how you set up your that's how you set up your stuff. Okay, so let me continue regarding the SQL side. So hopefully you will manage to set up, and if you manage to set up, it's business time, y'all. Okay, so what just happened is y'all are lucky some person handed y'all down a pizza chain. So and you're like, oh, I got a lot of stuff to sell. Let me manage it with something. So then your boss tell you, let's use Postgre, yay. So y'all want to find out what kind of pizzas y'all have sold, or which suppliers they are from, or whether which chain or store they have, right? Yeah, so this is essentially the situation. So for question number one, this is sometimes something for y'all to try hands on. So y'all would like to try to find out what are the prices for your pizzas that have been sold. So how do you specifically retrieve these information on SQL? So this is our first job. I'll give you a hint. The way we do it is we're using what we call select. So introducing select from, right? Okay, so select, if you think about your table, right, it's like an Excel sheet. Select basically allows you to pick out columns within your table, specific columns. So for instance, within my sales table, I have multiple columns: pizza, price. I think there's type, flavor. Yeah, I think there are some other columns down there. But having select allows you to pick out specific columns from a given table. So for instance, if you just want to select pizza, there is pizza from sales, right? So now it's your turn to try out whether y'all can find out whether y'all can see the pizza and price from your table. If y'all cannot, try to ask for help. When y'all try to ask for help, try to put your query on top of the table as well. So I will try to help. I'll try to do a query from this point and see whether y'all can replicate my results. So uh, of course I already have Pizarro set up. So by the way, to get to the place where y'all can write your query, y'all need to click the table here. So your database, scroll down under schemas, there's tables. Right click the table, then there should be a query to function. This is what y'all need to click on. So after clicking on the query to, that should bring you to the query editor. This area where your cursor is, where my cursor is currently swinging, is the area where y'all should be able to write your SQL queries. So if y'all remember how this whole thing works, the two statements y'all need to start writing is select and from, right? So select, okay, for the record, for those of you who might be wondering, whether we actually need to put this in caps, the answer is no. SQL can actually read either ways, but sometimes we do this just to make sure that our code is a bit more readable, especially if you are running into issues when you want to try to debug. Um, Not every single server language has a syntax highlighting, so sometimes you all will need to try to recognize which are the specific reserved words for SQL just by simply looking at whether it's capitalized or not. It helps your code and queries to be a lot more scalable and debuggable. Yeah, so that's the reason. So select. So we wanted to look at two things, right? We wanted to look at how to comment. Hold on, give me a moment about the comment. So select pizza, and so we wanted to look at two things, right? We wanted to look at the pizza and the price. So if y'all can see, right, the specific columns are named below the database under a given table. So this is how we can actually find out. This is actually how we can select specific columns. In fact, just now I made a mistake for this, and then after I checked that, I know that it's under pizzas, right? Select pizzas, and we wanted to know their price as well. So, oh, sorry, pizza, and their price, right? From. So from is where you want to select this. So you have 5 tables, and we probably want to find out prices under sales, right? So that makes more sense. Hold on. Someone asked how to comment. Can someone within the chat answer how to comment? Sorry. So right now, if we click down sales, you can see the name of our columns. So there's our name. Our name stands for restaurant name, right? In our case, and pizza is the one that I'm querying. What are the kind of pizza that we're looking at, and price. So these three are we're looking at is what we're trying to query. But we wanted, just as I explained just now, we wanted to try to find out the prices of the pizza. So it's select pizza and price. These two columns. From is which table we are querying from. So as you can see, it's cells, right? So from cells. And if we do this, we to run your query, you will turn up and see the bar over here, and the play button is where how you can run your code with all the codes and your queries. So you click execute, and here we go. So this is all the pizza with supreme Hawaiian cheese, prosciutto, and all that good stuff. And price that's next to it. Can everyone get that? Or does anyone has any difficulty trying to get this table? Hey, sick. Alright, and someone can tell me it's working fine. That's good, that's good. Alright, so here's a bit of a challenge for you all. Instead of, so there are multiple tables in this case, right? I don't just want to find out about sales. So there are rating central. So we have there are some like really interesting tables here. Restaurants, columns, let's say. Okay, can someone let's say I want to find out the name of my restaurant and what areas are they in. So the question right now is, can y'all try to find out for each region in the restaurant which area do they reside in? By clicking instead of typing. We can find out let's say for now I'm not aware of that. Usually in SQL we usually simply write the name of the specific query instead of trying to click on it. I'm not sure whether dragging works. It works. Okay, so if you see the column names, you can also if you can also simply just drag them, right? So I actually just found out about this as well. That's interesting. So for instance, let's try to query this one. We are trying to do a specific query for, let's say, the areas within the restaurant, right? So we select restaurant name. Oops, I'm sorry. Okay, select restaurant names. So we drag it onto here, and comma, and area. Let's go with this, right? Yeah. All right. So this is the two things that we want to look for, and from. Okay, let's try whether dragging an entire table works. Yes, it does. Hi, can someone also help Darren here who's like stuck with the restore settings? Thank you. Okay, so we if we run this query, this will give us the restaurant name and the specific area code they're in. Alright, so moving on, we are going to, so yeah, can anyone try to get the, sorry, can anyone try to get the restaurant names and area? If anyone's good, then we'll just go on. Alright, sick. Alright, so what we're going to do next is going to try to select, right? So just now, as y'all can see, what we selected is we selected a specific column and name and everything. But then let's say you want to access the full table, right? For instance, I want to access everything. I don't just want to know like a one or two columns of whatever I just looked at. I want to look at the entire data set, but from the entire thing, right? The best way is to use a wildcard statement. So this star right here is also known as wildcard, right? So the wildcard statement allows you to select everything from cells. Yeah. So you all can try it out. I will use this wildcard statement later. So just don't be thrown off when you see a star right here. That just means give me everything, right? Alright. Oh, cool. So the next thing we're gonna try to find out is distinct. So distinct is something that is usually used when you're only looking for what type of items you have. So if let's say I'm looking for what type of pizzas I have I'm trying to get all the kinds of pizza that I sell without having duplicates because duplicates are annoying to sort through, right? So that is where the select distinct come from. So coming back from this, let's say right now, we are not going to query from cells because this already like give me your answers already. Let's try to query from restaurants, right? We want to find out what kind of districts and what kind of areas does our supplier restaurants come from. Yeah, so try to practice this within your PG admin if possible. So by the way, try to write this query first, see if it works. If it works for you, then you can try out the finding out which area all your suppliers come from. Alright, so hopefully you're able to write the query well. I'll do a demo on how to actually get that. So as usual, we are back to our restaurants. So this is all our suppliers. This is all the information that our supplier has given us. So remember what our job is? Our job is to find out which areas they come from, right? But just for reference sake, we'll probably uh, write what kind of, we'll choose the distinct, but we are looking for areas, right? From the table name. So whenever you look at from, this is where you want to insert your table names. And the name of the table is restaurants. We run that query. So this is the three direction plus a central. So south, north, east, and central. Is everyone able to get that? Alright, so moving on. Alright, so after you're able to query for specific things like I want the price, I want the pizza, I want what type of pizzas I have regarding the listing stuff, we'll move on to case when. Okay, so for those who are in the Java world, who come from Java then specifically, you are more familiar with the case switch scenario. So case this and switch for next, right? So this is kind of similar. So the story in this case is that you're now presenting to your board of directors and telling them, hey, I can retrieve information. See, I'm a cool guy. I can conjure up whatever y'all need me to. I'm a query guy, right? So, but the problem is your board of directors doesn't like numbers, and unfortunately, price is actually a number. So they're only interested in which pizzas are expensive and which ones are rather cheap. So the best way you can present this information to your board of directors without manually labeling the prices yourself is doing what we call modified querying. And this will allow us to actually change to output a very specific output to your table given a very specific condition. So, and that's what I'm trying to do. So the best way to see this is to think about the case as a separate bracket entry. So you can hit bracket, then you'll be able to look at whatever you're looking at, when, price, then else. Then the end is the end of this entire bracket statement. And then you will name this as tag. Now, this as statement is also known as the alias statement. So sometimes if you have really, really, really long queries and you just try to do some really complicated querying, uh, you might want to use an as statement to compile everything into a term that you can reference. So in this case, if we have all these expensive and cheap thing going on, we want them to fall under a very specific column, and we name this column tag, which is exactly what's going on right here, the output. Yeah, so allow me to introduce the case when scenario. So case is you're trying to look at case when is sorry, the case is introduction case, introduction term that tells SQL that, hey, I want to start modifying my columns already. So then you ask, then SQL is like, oh, so how do you want to modify it? So then here's when your if else statement and becomes when and then statements, right? So when is like, okay, so if my prices are more than $20, strictly more than $20, then can you change that entry into expensive? And if that's not the case, that's what the else statement is for, it's a catch-all, turn that into cheap. Yeah, so this is telling SQL, this is what I want to do. And you end the statement and call this tag. So then afterwards, you output everything as from the sales table. So this, if you want to read it, when SQL try to read this entire thing, it will say, okay, can you get me the sales table? And from there, try to select the pizza and another column. But now when I'm looking at the price column, it's more than $20. Can, instead of the price number, can you put me expensive? And if the price number is below that $20 threshold, can you put me as cheap? And after that, can you rename this whole thing as tag? This is how SQL will interpret this entire statement. Yeah. So just a demo, I will also run that statement. So for those of y'all who are not too familiar with the entire syntax, at least the way where I started learning is uh, it's a bit more of a different order than what people are doing. So usually people think of a top-down approach when trying to learn or trying to teach. So you always think of the largest things first, and the largest thing in this case that falls under the best falls under everything is actually the table. So I'll usually write the table name first. So I'll write from first, from cells, right? Okay, so then after that I'll come back to write whatever I'm selecting. So then I'm going to select. Of course, I want to select my pizza, and I remembered, right, I'm trying to change that into a case because I wanted to present my board director something expensive or cheap instead of numbers, right? So then the case is when, so if I want my price to, if I'm looking at the price and the price is above $20 and I need to output, that's where the then statement comes in. If price, when price is more than 20, then expensive, right? Yeah, $20 pizza is really expensive. Um, then we'll try to write else. So else write cheap because that pizza ain't worth much, right? And this is the end of our statement, so we'll write the word and afterwards we want to rename this table, we want to rename this column as tag, remember? Because after all, this is a tag, so we call it as tag. Everyone can follow? Alright, so we run this. Aha! Expensive, cheap, expensive, cheap. The bosses should be very happy. All the names are allowed. Alright. Right, so if you're stuck, go ahead and ask anyone in the chat any questions, like how you're stuck and all that. Hopefully all of y'all are able to get this, and hopefully y'all can follow the way that we what we are thinking when we're writing SQL code, and especially for people who are starting out, this is a really helpful way to think about how to write SQL codes. Alright, moving on. So after that, you've shown your board director, look, expensive, cheap, expensive, cheap. That's awesome, right? No, they're kind of impressed, like, wow, okay, this is not any numbers, cool. Yeah, but there's one of those shareholders who has a pineapple allergy. Yeah. Okay, for the record, don't judge me, guys. Some people is like pineapple pizzas are gross. I love Hawaiian, okay? Agatha wrote this part, so pizzas are, she thinks that pineapple pizzas are gross. I disagree, but hey, that's another issue you can bring up. But she asked us, basically that person asked us whether we can exclude that Hawaiian pizza from all our all our table. So the way we are actually going to go about this is actually we're going to change it into a null value, into something that's non-existent. So null in SQL database language, or rather for any programming language for that purpose, is to really change it to something that doesn't exist. So this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to change, if we see the Hawaiian pizza within the query table, we're just gonna change it to null. It doesn't exist. So what we're going to do is we're going to write this null if statement. So the null if statement is changing something into another thing. So this is so it takes in two things, right? The bracket, the first thing is a pizza, the second thing is a Hawaiian. So what happens is that it will look at the column, and then if the column has this item on the right, it will change it to null. So this is the entire process. Select. So after this query, what they did is they selected the name of the restaurant. They selected they look at the pizza column and they look at, oh, pizza Hawaiian. All right, I'm going to change it to a null. And then once again with the alias statement, we change this as pizza. So this name is now named pizza. Everyone can follow, right? All right, so let's try this hands on. So let's in order for us to see a difference, right? The best way for us to do this, let's go, is to write something here. Select. What are we looking at for that? Hold on. Yeah, let's select our name of the restaurant. Oh, oops. Apologies. Our name, and let's look at pizza, right? From sales. Oops. Alright, so if you run this query, you should be able to see all the name of chains and associated pizzas that they sell. Now, if I remember, there's Hawaiian here, so that's not what we want, right? So instead, we'll change this. Null if. So remember, null if takes in two things. First thing it takes in is the column name, pizza, right? And second thing it takes in is the type of pizza that it contains. It's the entry that you want to replace. So pizza Hawaiian, right? So it will change to pizza Hawaiian, and now we want to rename this back to pizza, so everything is good. Alright. So let's run that. Aha! And it's gone. It's a null statement. Right. Can everyone get this? Alright, we're good. Alright. So that is a null statement. This is how you basically Thanos snap away all the entries that you don't really like. Yeah, that's the best way I can put it. Alright, so this is the null if statement. And alright, so after we have gone through the select null if statement, I think let's take a 5 minutes break, and afterwards we'll go through with how to filter data to get what you want from all your entries. Thanks for staying, guys. Yep. Um, Hi guys, sorry. This is just a update. Okay. Hi guys, sorry. Just an update. So I think it's around 7:30 now. Let's take a 5 minutes break and come back around 7:35. All right. Hope everyone's cool. It's okay. Yeah, yeah, we're good. We're good. Don't worry about it. I told them 7:35. Yes. Right. Maybe it's better for me to write that, type it down. Hi, can you hear me? All right, very good. All right, give me a moment, guys. All right, we're good. Okay, so let's continue where we left off. Uh, with the where statements. All right, so um, hopefully y'all have some fun trying to do the select query and all that. So that is trying to get everything from a column. But the question is, what if you don't want to get everything, right? You want to select only specific, sorry, give me a moment. Yeah, you only want to select specific columns that has very, very special properties within within your table, and this is where the where statement comes in handy. So your where statement is the ones that gonna get you what you really need in the end of the day, right? So like I said, so the story right now is that all your shareholders are like quite happy, like whoa, it's expensive, it's cheap. Wow. So this is like wow, okay, I know this guy is like not bad. He can tell me what is what, right? Yeah, but then there's another guy who is like selling cheese type pizza, right? So he is the main producer of that specific pizza. So we tell them, hey, can you show me what kind of cheese pizzas, like which stores are selling my cheese pizza. I'm like, okay, sure, we'll do that. So this is where our this is where filtering comes in really handy, our where statements, right? So the way we're going to do it is after your select and from, the third line, after these two lines, you can write where. And what where does is it actually allows you to insert a condition. And SQL will actually return all the statements that fits in this condition in back to you. So this is where we can see where pizza equals to cheese, right? So let's try to do something similar to that in our query box. So we're looking at sales, right? Okay, so why not? Let's just try to replicate what we already had. All right, so the restaurant name and pizza, right? Wait, restaurant name and price. How about we just select one doing the price anyways, right? Look at the price of uh the pizza where, oops. Okay, so where we want to know the pizza is cheese, right? So gosh, pizza is equals to cheese, right? So after we run this, huh, okay, what's the issue? There isn't, right. So this is another character about this is that SQL in their string processing is very, very case sensitive. So in within this string context, right? So if you're querying for a specific thing like cheese and you can't remember whether it's capital or not capital, that might cause you difficulties in terms of querying. Other parts like these don't quite matter. Like the ones in purple, these words in purple, they don't quite matter at all because SQL is able to recognize them anyways, right? So this is quite dangerous. I'll introduce a way for you to find out the cheese query later by using a trick that I'll introduce. So don't worry about that. So even though sometimes you may not remember what's in front, what's behind, what's the actual letter itself, that wouldn't be an issue later after I introduce a specific term called like. So yeah, for now, just know that SQL is quite sensitive in their string processing when it comes to things like capitalization and spacing. Yeah. So just be a bit careful about this. Oh, one more tip. Some of y'all might have tried this double quotes. This will in fact return you an error. Yes. So the double quote is actually not recognized in SQL. Some of y'all who came from Python background or even Java may have tried this double quoting and either way it works, but this is not working in SQL. So yeah, just be quite careful about this. Specifically Postgres, some other SQL servers or even BigQuery might allow a double quote. But for the current context on a Postgres, or when we are working with Postgres, a single quote is usually that single quote is the actual way to actually search for strings. Yeah. So hopefully we're all good here. So since we are at this point, why not we also try to uh, use this to find out the expensive pizzas, right? So if you remember what we just tried to do is we tried to classify everything to be expensive or cheap, right? So what if right now I only want the expensive pizzas? I don't want to like write the expensive thing again. I just want to know like the prices and what pizzas I have, right? So as usual, I can select pizza and the price from sales where right, so right now we don't want to know that the price is okay. So for now, this query itself gives us all the prices of the cheese pizzas. Yeah. So this is 19 and 23. So what if I want to know about, I don't want to know the cheese pizza right now because I can see the cheese pizza right now. I want to know what are the prices of the pizza that are more than $20. I want to know what kind of expensive pizzas I have, right? So this will also allow me to do that. See? So all the Supreme Hawaiian cheese pizza, these are all the expensive ones. I can even add in my restaurant. I can even bring in my wildcard to see the full information of these things. And that will bring me even the chain. Alright, so hopefully everyone's good. Okay, so this is that. So with the where statements, we can now filter our we can filter all our statements into different like depending on what kind of statements and needs we have. So there are some tricks to do with wheres, right? So just now you see me querying pizza where it's cheese and certain price line. So in this case, we can also introduce a and statement. So and statement, for those who are more familiar with programming methodology, it's basically putting these two conditions together. So you will only pass the query if it fits both of this situation. If it doesn't fit one of this situation, it will not pass through, right? So um, like I said, we can also search for something like where price is 20 and pizza is a cheese. And after that, we click enter. There's only one sold by Dominion, right? That's causing us 23 bucks. It's quite expensive, honestly. Yeah, but here's the idea of using, if we ignore this, then that will be all the pizzas that's more than $20. Adding this will add the condition in addition to the fact that it needs to be a cheese pizza. So yeah, hopefully this is okay with everyone. And let's move on. So the where and or. So the or is a bit of a different behavior like with and. Or means that if as long as it fits any of the conditions above, it will return you whatever statement it is. So in this case, the pizza might be margarita, it might be cheese, or it might be Hawaiian. So any of these pizza will work. So that's the idea behind the or statement. Alright, so the where and like. So if you remember just now what I said about I can't remember what I want to fill in. Is it a capital? Is it not a capital? Is there any other word behind it? You know, some brands love to add specific weird spellings to a specific piece of brand so that it adds flavor. Yeah, so it really becomes a annoying thing if you're trying to work in a company and people comes up with weird stuff like that. So the best way we can do is to think the best way to tackle this issue is to use the like function. Alright. Okay, so the best way we can do is like statement. So cheese in this case is what we are going to query, but then we're still going to use the like statement to try to find anything similar. So in this case, if we use pgadmin, where pizza like cheese. Now this will return us almost back the usual stuff, but then because we haven't used a lot of the functions that like will provide. So one of the things that the like query happens to provide is filling in blank spaces, which is this. So if you aren't like I said, if you're unsure exactly what your first thing is, whether it should be a capital letter, not capital letter, whether it should be spelled correctly or not, this is the one you use. So this is the blank space. So you fill in any character, not just a C, not just anything. As long as there is a character in front, and they will just put in there. So right now we can try out and replacing this with a underscore, and that will return us the good old cheese, right? But even if in the original statement it was a underscore cheese, sorry, a lowercase cheese, it will still work. So this is the idea behind the like and the downward, sorry, and underscore. Right. So other than the underscore, there's an even more powerful way for you to query, right? Is a percentage sign. So a percentage sign is a bit more like a wildcard. It's a really, really wild character that it represents any zero or more characters. So I can have can you try to guess what this current thing is trying to write? Because when I tried to write this, I was like, what word am I not very sure the spelling of? And I immediately settled on the word prosciutto, because it happens to be Italian or French, I can't remember. So yeah, so what I was writing just now was I was trying to search for the word prosciutto, and yeah, and that this is the specific word I entered, and it returned me exactly the prosciutto pizza. So the way you do it is where pizza like. Right now, let's say we want to search for prosciutto. Still can't spell prosciutto for the record. So it's percentage sign. This represents any number of characters. You can even have not any. You can even not have any character in front. PTO. Yeah, right. This is the way you spell prosciutto. Okay, prosciutto. Here we go. So this is for those people who are really really bad at spelling. Yeah, this really saves the day and the other day. Yeah, when you can't remember how to spell anything, this will save you. Yes. So with that, let's continue. So this is like also one of the tricks that you can use when you're filtering data that you're not very sure of, like the specific character. So okay, so the idea of between and not between. So the if you're trying to if you're trying to get in between values between 15 and 20, this is really intuitive actually. So for someone who is searching for prices ranging between 15 and 20, you don't have to do the where price is larger than 15 and price is smaller than 20, because SQL actually provides you with the function to actually search inclusively. Yeah, so one thing that you all have to note is that unlike a lot of programming language where the lower bound is inclusive and upper bound is exclusive, SQL actually include both bounds. So when you look at between 15 and 20, they also include 15 and 20. Those prices are also included actually. So so I'm not going to demo this anymore due to time constraint, but then y'all can also try this. Oh, and for the record, not between 15 and 20 also means that both 15 and 20 is excluded because of the way SQL actually includes the value when you put them in the query. So they will actually see the 15 and 20 within a table and just remove. So when you actually when the table is returned to you, they will also not have 15 and 20 inside. All right. The use of is now and not now. So if you remember what happened just now is we remove the Hawaiian pizza if we remove the Hawaiian pizza within the whole sales table, we can still do that actually. Uh, right now, so select everything, null is uh pizza. Oh, it's on pizza is Hawaiian, right? And from there, from sales. Okay, so right now, the best way for me to filter this out, because since this is already Hawaiian, so the null if statement changed this into a null statement. So where uh pizza not null, right? Huh. Right, okay, I'm sorry. Select everything. Alright. So okay, so hold on. Okay, so pizza. Okay, so actually there's a better way for us to query this. Sorry, in order to do this, we can just simply write select everything from cells where pizza not is not equals to. For record, this is the not equals to sign. Basically, it excludes everything that is not a specific value. So we can put Hawaiian inside and we run the query. This will work. So there's no Hawaiian whatsoever. Cool. Alright, moving on. But yeah, in case you're wondering, the not null statement and the null statement is always here to help you if you're trying to exclude any null values. Alright, so let's go to order by. Okay, this part that's really fun. So you also know you're presenting your stuff and your board of characters aren't really happy because everything is jumbled up, right? So they really want to prioritize their work by their task and urgency. So this is where order by can come in really helpful. So the way you do order by is to select you can select, and if you put order by, you can put them in either descending order or ascending order. By default, SQL will sort everything in ascending order. So even if you don't include the ASC character inside, it will still sort everything in vertical ascending order. Only if you want to sort them by descending order, you put descending. So allow me to show you real quick. So this is the part where gotta rush. Woo! Okay, so for instance, where price, sorry, where let's not have price anymore because we're not filtering anything. Order by. So after the statement after order by is the one that you want to sort them by. So I want to sort by price and DSC. You want to sort in descending price. So this means that the most expensive stuff will be floating on top and everything goes below. Cool, yeah? Alright. So yeah, moving on. After we manage to sort, what's important afterwards is so when we are sorting, we can either sort by keys alphabetically or even results. So if you want to sort in strings, there's this really important documentation you all have to remember. It's called the SC key. So different values in the SC key actually has an ascending order, and that is how any system, also SQL, will also sort through all your characters for you. And if you want to sort everything by in descending order, you have to add a DESC, as I explained. Alright, so last point, group by. Okay, this is the part that people get stuck a lot, but then it's also one of the most important functions that data scientists will use, because this is where we can create aggregate functions to analyze whatever we want to. So as part of your job, you need to do spreadsheets, calculate averages, means, and sum. Manually doing this chore is not just boring, it's very tedious. You'll probably fall asleep on your desk. But you either don't use them or you probably already gave them away. Your sharp Casio calculators. I don't own them anyways. Using SQL really helps you to perform these chores with the group by clause. So yeah, this is really where your aggregate functions come in and shine. Now, there are a lot of aggregate functions, but we're just going to try to do the first one, right? Count. So using group by functions will allow you to do something similar. So for now, let's say this query, we want to look at how many cheese pizzas we have, right? So this is where we will remember the where. This is filtering all the pizzas that is cheese. And right now we group them by their restaurant names. We can group by whatever we want, but then the most important thing is we want to see how many. You group by restaurant name means that you group every single cheese pizza and they look at the restaurant. If they are the same restaurant, they're grouped together. So this is the way they aggregate data. So if you have a restaurant, it will count once. So essentially this query will ask how many cheese pizzas are actually sold within the branch. So let's go here. Okay, so we go through select count 1 because we want to count 1 every time there's a cheese pizza from cells where pizza is equals to, we asked for cheese, but we can also try supreme, why not? Okay, so then this is where we want to group by the restaurants, right? And okay, that's a bad idea, we didn't write the name of the restaurant. So right now you can see that column pizza sells about one, and there's a trattoria selling one. So basically, our cheese pizza isn't doing very well. So we should probably consider other pizza chains as well. So these are the kind of aggregate data and insight they can get from doing aggregate queries more likely. And yeah, there's one thing that's really important is that aggregate functions such as count, average, and sum, you can always use them when you want to, but always remember to add the group by statement because these go hand in hand. So you can only do count, average, and sum when you have more than one entry within the data. And group by ensures that you can group together multiple data into a bunch and perform the aggregate functions to analyze whatever data you have. And there's one thing that we kind of want to cover, depending on time, is a having statement. Now, the way you can see having statement is a where statement among groups. So if you have a bunch of groups, you want to filter these groups, you will write having. All right, let's see if we can actually find out. All right. So we already have this. Now I want to filter these groups because these, after all, are groups because we already grouped them by the restaurant. So group by restaurant, having, this is how we filter the groups. Having uh sorry, having Colin. Okay, having our name goes to Colin pizza. And this should return us with the column pizza. So having allows us to filter the groups that we formed with group by. Yes, so this is what having does. Alright, whoops. Alright, so sorry it's a bit of a rush, but hey, we've reached the end of this workshop. So through this workshop, hopefully what I've learned is what is SQL. You all have a bit more idea on what relational data does. Schemas and constraint basically don't put your strings within your integer statements, and with select, hopefully this is the most important part where you all understand if you all don't take away anything, take away select from, right? And filtering data with where statements. And hopefully from what I've shown y'all, it's y'all can understand that the where statement is really powerful. Y'all can try different ways to filter your wheres. And hopefully I also show you enough tricks so that you can pull it out one that when you really forgot about how to spell things. For sure though, man, I still can't remember how to spell it. And also, yeah, hopefully you can run the pizzeria. This is really the entire point of this course. No, it's not. Yeah, but it's hopefully y'all can understand how to write SQL codes, and then hopefully using that to translate to whatever business y'all want to start, whatever projects. Some of y'all might even want to consider Orbital next year. It's really super helpful within their querying. So yeah, something for you to look forward to in workshop 2. Yeah, join tables, guys. I mean, don't do it now because it's COVID, but no, seriously, joining tables, it's essentially joining two tables together so you all can consider more information, because sometimes different columns may not contain the same information, but they have some kind of things to connect them together. You all learn about it. Unions, yes. So unions, not the kind that go on strike. Please don't do that, guys. Unions are basically joining two tables horizontally. Sorry, they're stacking tables together. Also very useful in the end. They also cover some really advanced uses and application of Progress SQL. If you all got time, we'll also cover how to write them in Python. Some of them are really powerful. And since Python is really the most commonly used programming language by data scientists, you all might want to consider that as well. Oh yes, the next workshop, which is tomorrow, is going to be covered by Michael. Yes, we have two Michaels. Really lucky that we have the same name. No, not really. Yeah, so this is really essentially what's going to cover about workshop 2. Hope you guys are looking forward to it. And yeah, see you next workshop, I guess, guys. So we'll see you next workshop, and I'll be in the chat tomorrow as well. So if you have any questions, also feel free to ask them. Yeah, so that will be all for us, and hopefully y'all have fun, guys. Oh yes, okay. Before y'all go, please, I will need to switch back to. I'll switch back to Jet. Jet will talk to you about some of the social stuff that y'all can do and how to continue following us.
Hi everyone, thanks Agatha and Michael Young for taking us through this workshop. Although there were some
Jet,
Wi-Fi
do you want to
issues,
cover the social?
thanks Agatha and Michael Yang for taking us through this. So although there was some Wi-Fi issues, I hope that
Jeremy.
you have learned something useful about SQL today. Thank you so much, Agatha and Michael Yang, for your 5 weeks of hard work put into preparing for this workshop. Can we have some shout out for them, please? So we have a feedback form so that you can give suggestions for improvement on our immediate upcoming workshops where we have applied machine learning for face mask detection, we have dimensionality reduction and theory. So please give us feedback on our slides, presentation, pace of the teaching, difficulty, anything at all. We have our social channels here with the workshop's website, our Telegram channel, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and our email at the bottom. So once again, thank you so much for your support, and I hope that you learned something useful today. Our members, that's SOC members, will remain in the chat for the rest of the remaining time for about 5 to 10 minutes. Thank you.
Can we have like some stream music in the background?
Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining us today. We have a workshop tomorrow, which is the SQL for Data Science 102. So we hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you.